This is Mohlahlana that introduces Khan to me. I said, Commissioners, I'm going to reflect to what happened in 2011, later on my statements. Crime intelligence, modus operandi back then, and players that were involved back then with the looting on the money and irregularities, they still exist at crime intelligence today, and some of them are occupying high position. So there has no reforms that has been implemented at crime intelligence. That's why it's no surprise when you start seeing things coming out. Like I said on record, I did not say that General Khan has leaked any information. It is Mohlahlana that introduces Khan. I only know of one Khan at crime intelligence. So perhaps as we investigate further, we'll be able to see whether there's any leakages between these people. That information that supposed to be within the confines of those four walls where the meeting was taking place ended up with Mohlahlana. Commissioners, as I've outlined a lot of communications here with Mohlahlana, if I can move faster, if you allow me to see on my statement, because I think a lot of things that we have spoken about here.
I think, General, you are now at 320.2. That would be the last page on this of this annex.
I beg your pardon?
Page 320.2. Maybe.
Oh, no, I'm just talking. I'm going on my statement, trying to align myself with what is on statement.
You have covered your statement, that portion of your statement in its entirety, because of the conversation you were having with the chair, taking him through the various pieces of communication. I was just pointing out, with Mr. Mohlahlana, I was pointing out that the only page of that annexure you haven't dealt with is page 320.2, and then you'll have caught up with what you have in your statement.
General, before you go with the evidence leaders directing you, at page 320, that extract of your communication with Mr. Mohlahlana, there's where, right at the top where it's Brown Mohlahlana, and I assume the message there is from him, "Good day, General, met with a complainant." Did you ever come to know who was the complainant? And what was the complaint?
I did not know who the complainant is, Commissioner. You'll notice that there will be messages and phone calls that he will be making to me, which will be very short in seconds, but I never really got to know who the person is. The only person that I could relate to in his entire conversation I'm having with him is General Khan. That seems to be the contact person with him.
And the complaint would have been what? The defeating?
Even that, it did not explain to me who's planning this defeating. It did not say, it didn't say anything. I must maybe retract back. I'm going to maybe some reflection later as we maybe close the day or somewhere in between. We're going to present a slide where we're not necessarily going to be talking too much on it, but we're going to just reflect on some things. And part of the system of protecting the drug squad, media plays part. Let me rephrase. Journalists within media houses, they are part of this in pushing certain narrative. Why I say this is because a very well-known veteran, Ziligas of Africa, had contacted me almost immediately after this incident happened of Mbangeni. It happened beginning of the year last year. I think a month or so, he contacted me. He can come here and confirm that. He called me, contacted me, said, "Gerald, I'm hearing that you interfered with the police operation. And what is going on?" So I explained to him the details of what transpired. He understood. Then he said, "Okay, well, there's some stories and there's nothing wrong." So he did not publish that. Later in the year, which I suppose maybe this is why Mohlahlana is coming to me with this, is that first General Tsele calls me, he's a former minister, he calls me and he says, the Premier of Gauteng have approached him to go and work in Gauteng to help him fight crime in Gauteng. Therefore, he needs General Khumalo, who's a district commissioner and ex-task force commander in KZN, to come and work with him in Gauteng. And I find it strange because I think he called 2 or 3 times. While I was in a meeting, I kept giving the phone to one Brigadier Abteles who was with me in the meeting. And after that, I had a conversation with General Cele, and then he pleaded with me to release this general to come to Gauteng. And my surprise was, but when General Cele was in the police, he did not like the general, Khumalo. He didn't like him at all. So why now that he's out of the police, he trust Khumalo to come and work with him in Gauteng? It was just strange. And I turned to my colleague, Jaron Hua, who was with me in a meeting. This was in Durban. Jaron Hua works at the head office from HR. So I turned to her and said, but I received a strange call here. General Cele is asking me to approach Khumalo, who's a district commissioner of Zululand, to come and work with him in Gauteng, meaning he must resign from the police and go and work in Gauteng with him for 5 years, then he'll come back into the police, which was very odd. And Jaron Hua was also confused. He said, but as far as I know, Cele didn't like Khumalo. And he made all of us at the head office to believe that Khumalo is a bad person. Why will he now suddenly want Khumalo to work with him? So it was just a strange call. I then contacted Gerald Kumar. He's a major general. I phoned Gerald Kumar and said, Gerald Kumalo, this is a request I received from Gerald Cele. Gerald Kumalo just laughed and he said, well, don't worry, the general is not serious about that. So I asked him, what do you mean? He said, no, he's not serious. He wants me to back off on the case against Khan, General Khan from Crime Intelligence. So Cele is pursuing Khumalo to resign from the police so that he can stay away from the disciplinary case because he was appointed to deal with that case departmentally against General Khan. So Khumalo says, no, this is the approach of Cele to want me to back off. And that got me so upset, commissioners, that can really General Cele go to the extent of wanting a person to resign from the service because he wants to protect someone? It was very strange. I did not talk to General Cele from the day. I did not talk to him. I was very upset. It disappointed me as a person who's a former minister in the police. I was just upset. Fast forward, commissioners, the police have got 2 disciplinary processes. It's what's called expeditious, and the other one's a normal disciplinary process. Expeditious, you basically, in short, I could say, we're already saying to you, you are guilty of an offense. Come before a presiding officer to explain why you say you're not guilty, in a way. But in a normal process, the employer must present the allegations, and you have a chance to cross-examine witnesses and argue a case. And then you have a presiding officer that must decide. So the initial disciplinary procedure that was initiated for General Khan on that interference with the drug in Johannesburg was that of a expeditious process. So Khumalo was then appointed as a person who's going to preside over that. And Major General Khan approached the court granted, they overturned that and they say, no, we must go to a normal disciplinary hearing where he has a right to be represented and bring witnesses and question the witnesses and so forth. And therefore, there must be presiding officer appointed. Then Gerald Khumalo, the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, approached me and he asked me to be a presiding officer. I then agreed. Shortly after agreeing to be presiding officer, not long after that, I started getting this communication from Mr. Mohlahlana. But at that time, I'm not understanding as to what this communication, what is the background of this communication. But he started communicating these things to me. That's why he throws General Khan's name in it. And later, I think, I cannot remember exact date, I think it will have been the beginning of the year, I received an inquiry. Actually, I received a phone call from the very same journalist, Mzilazo Africa. His call was, you remember the story I asked you about of what happened in Bangin? I said, yes. He said, but my colleague has just approached me, confronted me about that story and is asking him, why didn't he publish the story? And he said, no, but there was no story there. I listened to this thing and it just didn't make sense. Somebody is trying to peddle and frame Jerome Kwans for nothing, so I didn't publish this. And in his own words to me, Mzilazo Africa was, this colleague of his says to him, now I'm forced to publish the story. And Mzilikazi found it strange, so he called me first. He said, hey, who did you upset somewhere in the police? Then I said, no, I don't know anything. They said, but is anything happening in the police that will lead people to want to publish this thing that is a year later, so old, that want to publish? Then I said, well, the only thing I know is that I'm going to be presiding over a disciplinary case. So he asked me, whose disciplinary case is that? I told him it's for Gerald Khan. He said, oh, no, now I connect the dots. Because my colleague and Gerald Khan are close. It could be coming from there. That is his words. Mzilikazi will come here and say that. But I told him that I'm going to talk about this. He said, no, if he's called here, he will come and talk about it. I know who the colleague is. I'm not going to say it in public. He will perhaps, if you want to divulge that, he will. That's why I'm saying there are players within the media houses that are part of. So shortly after that, I received a message from the very same colleague of Mzilikazi. He sent me a question about the same incident. I gave him a full explanation as I did here to Brian Mohlahlanana. A full explanation. A logic journalist would have understood and said, okay, well, this is just a malicious thing, and don't publish that. But that finds itself to the newspaper on a Sunday. Commissioners, it is fair. That's why I like the investigative journalists. I think they're credible because they investigate first before they talk. I like the ones on TV behind cameras because they give it as is. The others that will just get information from others and write it becomes question marks, which what happened to this one.
And which Sunday publication was that?
I know the name of the journalist. I cannot remember exactly the Sunday, the paper. I don't want to, I might end up being sued if I mention the wrong name here. But I know the name of the journalist, so I can give you the name of the journalist.
You said you are not divulging it.
Yeah,
right,
I'll give you the name of the journalist, you'll write, and you'll see the trend throughout, up to now. It's the same journalist that is part of the squad. Well, there are others that are linked with him, but he's the main one. So the story goes out, commissioners, to the newspaper. It's an allegation that was made by Mohlahlanana that someone wants to open a case against me. Now, in the newspaper is my full picture there, and the big heading, allegations against Jerome Kwano defeating, and they write a story for the pen. They, of course, write my response. So, but the problem is, it is my face there, not the complainant. It's my face that is there. The heading creates question marks about my integrity as a person, as a senior officer in the province. They put my full response on the paper. So a person who reads the paper will get to understand the context of this heading and the story. They will be fine with it. But for you to get into a newspaper, must subscribe, must pay money. Some of us don't necessarily subscribe to papers. But there is social media that is free. Now, on the social media, they take the heading because you are limited on what you write in there. They take the heading of allegations that Jerome Kwanazi is accused of defeating end of justice against a drug dealer at Kalagabusha. And that goes into their media account, social media account. And that which spreads like wildfire because people access it easy. Remember, they don't have a privilege of reading the full report that is on the paper. They are just taking it from this headline. And the picture is painted. Mkwanas is a bad person. And they're achieving what they want. So I took it as a pressure for me to back off from the case that I was going to preside over of Gerald Khan. How do I prove that? Is because Gerald Khan's lawyers, they even wrote to me on emails and said, there's these things about you on the media, so we are in doubt of your independence in dealing with Khan. They wrote to me that, and that's what they said on email. So that's when I deducted that, oh, the pressure was for me to back off on this disciplinary case. So what Khumalo told me that they were wanting him to resign because they wanted him to back off on the case. So why will they go all out to try and get us to back off on the case against Gerald Khan? I'm an independent person. Yes, I know Gerald Khumalo is my colleague, but I'm not going to go and go with what Khumalo perhaps might want to do in dealing with Khan. Mine is to follow the policy and the law. So we arrive in a...
So you simply responded to the journalist's questions And you did not engage the journalist on what Mr. Africa had said, which was that this journalist was saying they were under pressure to publish the story. You did not engage the journalist on that.
No, I didn't. I didn't engage a journalist, Commissioner. I only gave a full response on the question he asked me. Gave a full response. He took that response as is to the paper. But the problem is, my photo and everything is there. So the damage is going to be there either way. Whether I'm responding, but my face is already on the paper. And on the social media account, that short summary of it, it's the one that is trending. Not the full response that I provided. It's not there on social media. So, which means they achieve what they wanted, paying me a bad person. And you can Google, you'll find me protecting criminals, drug dealers of Kalagabusha. It's there.
And
Which pains.
those captions usually attract me to stories, but when I scroll down, I can't read because it requires that I be a subscriber.
Subscribe.
Which most of the time I'm not.
The same as me, Commissioner, majority of the people in the country, they don't necessarily subscribe to papers, but they rely on that first caption and makes a story. Maybe 2 days later, they put a full story when it's old, then you can read it without having to pay. But it's all news by then. So, and I could see that the whole idea was just, let's tarnish this man's image. And that's all. So that's what they did. They created the doubt. So fast forward, the disciplinary case comes, and I believe I was fair to Gerald Khan. Despite the allegations that came from IPID, I still protected his rights. I allowed him to bring his lawyers in there. I sat and I listened to the evidence that was provided. The very same Gerald Kumalo that was asked to resign was representing the employer. Gerald Khan had his legal team, and there were witnesses that were brought to come and testify. I could not find a single wrong that Gerald Khan has done. In actual fact, I even said there in my own words that the SAPS owes Gerald Khan for what he did, because Gerald Khan stopped police officers that came to collect drugs under the person who was the head of traffic Gauteng. They came to collect a consignment of drugs from the truck. The truck that arrived in Germiston, and they wanted to get drugs from there. And the people that are owning the truck company, they said, no, you're not going to take these drugs, search this truck from here, follow it to the final destination, which is in Eratin, which is a West Rand. So 2 police officers, 1 Johannesburg traffic, and 1 captain from Zongezizwe, they followed the truck until it arrived at Eratin, and they were accompanied by 3 members from Pretoria who traveled all the way there. 1 from organized crime, 2 from the dog unit. And they all said they were coming to search the truck. And they actually offloaded the consignment from the truck, which was drugs, in bags. They took this thing and they loaded in the police car. Luckily, the lady that worked in that company contacted 10111. 10111 called Boysen police station. Boysen vehicle came there, and then there was a conflict between the police when they discovered that these policemen who says they're running these operations, they're already removing this consignment from the truck, they're loading it in the police park. So these policemen asked, but this is a crime scene. Why are you taking this thing from here to here? If you're saying it's drugs, we have not even opened the bags. How do you know? If it is drugs indeed, why do you load them in the park? And this one said, no, we're taking them to Zongezizwe. And this one said, but this is Boysen area. Why do you take this thing to Zongezizwe? It's found here, it's a crime scene. Get LCRC and everyone to deal with it. Then there was a conflict between police at the time, and that police member who was present there took the police vehicle, and he blocked this police car that was already loaded with drugs. He blocked it so that it doesn't move. And that's what allowed the other police officers to phone General Khan and say, there are members that claim to be from crime intelligence, they come and intervene. So he traveled all the way, he arrived almost 2 hours later. And he put a stop from these drugs to be stolen. He phoned DPCI, he phoned the local provincial crime intelligence. They came and he took over the scene and he left. But it was then strange as to how do you blame Khan for that? Because he stopped the people that wanted to steal drugs. He stopped it. So he was in a good space at the time, so I couldn't fault him. But that, Commissioners, doesn't take away the fact that Mokhotsi says Khan will brief me about secret information that I discussed in the presentation. So while I'm having this belief that Khan has got to do with leaking of the information in there, perhaps according to Mkhotsi, but on the disciplinary part where Khan was accused of drugs, he did not do anything wrong. So if I had that bad intention against Khan, I would have dismissed him. But I did not, because I gave him fair disciplinary hearing, of which you can ask him today, he will tell you, no, I treated him fair. Commissioners, was the last time the media started writing about me. That made me confirm that, oh, my being in the media so bad, it was because of the anticipation that this is what I was going to do. And in actual fact, after that, I even received a message from Honorable Adams in Parliament who said, no, you good cop, you did well. Which I find strange. But nonetheless, we proceed with the presentation, Commissioner. I don't want to bore you with anything. I'm just reflecting to some things that we're dealing with as we are trying to bring you closer to why we are putting these names together and the picture that we're trying to paint.
General, before you move on, I think Commissioner Khumalo would like to pose a question to you.
Thank you, Professor Silo. General, for my benefit, in paragraph 197 of your statement, because MK17 is a communication between you and Mr. Mkhotsi starting from the 30th of September to the 2nd of October, 2024. I'm just trying to establish when that conversation with Mr. Nkabinde happened and what was the nature of the conversation.
Okay, Commissioners, I might have placed this paragraph like this, but Brown contacts me and he tells me about him with the minister and all that. Immediately, that day, I called Nkabinde because I wanted to establish. This is last in September, somewhere about October. That's when I phoned Nkabinde to ask, but who is this gentleman? And Nkabinde said, no, Brown is a friend of the minister, but is not employed in the department. Because I will assume if he's employed, there is an advisor of the minister, Ligard, and Nkabinde will have records. But Nkabinde said, no, he's not employed in the police, but he's close to the minister. So I had no reason not to believe Nkabinde, because that's what he told me. And I actually asked Nkabinde to send me Brown's number. He did send me the number to confirm it's the same number that I have. That's why I went to verify that is it registered under Brown's name.
So you say you also got the same number from the minister's chief of staff?
That's exactly. The chief of staff gave me the same number. So,
General, if I may, because the Commissioner has led you to that point, that would have completed MK17. But if I can ask us to take a step back for the sake of completeness and deal with the last piece of MK17, that communication between yourself and Mr. Mkhotsi, and I take it that perhaps might just take us to tea, so when we come back, then we progress his statement, and technically that would be from 199. Just to recap, General, you had dealt with what's on the screen now. Yes, where you missed call. Do you see at the bottom 320? It ends with a missed call and a start of congratulations, you are going to a safe country or something, or to save the country. So when we go over, we are now at page 320.2. That would be the next page. And that badly captured message at the bottom of the previous page is what's at the top. Starting with it's a missed voice call first, then the message, congratulations, you are going to save this country. Have you found your place? Okay. Then you can talk to this particular slide, and that will be the end of MK17.
thank you so much, Commissioners. Commissioner, I had, from time to time, this Mr. Brown Mkhotsi will communicate with me. I might just apologize. I think maybe there might be one page missing again on the attachment, as he's going to kill me now. That's why I'm asking for my phone. I don't know how it got missed. But
May I suggest then, is it a page that precedes 320, our
no, it's
current
after.
320?
It's after, yeah.
Okay.
Because the last conversation that I had with Brown was on the 3rd of July, 3 days before I went public.
Okay, can I suggest then we deal with 320.2, which is what we currently have on our record?
Yeah.
Then you will speak to the one that you say is missing, provide us, and we'll once again update your files. We hope that will then complete the picture. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, as you'll see, the last part of 3201, where the message was sent on the 10th of April, 2025, this year, at 17:13 in the afternoon, and Brown sent me a message saying, "My general," and I responded by saying, "Yes, sir." Towards the end of the page, "Yes, sir." And then he tried to call me. I did not take that call. And the next message he starts there, but it follows to the next page. I think it's written better on the second page, where he says, "Congratulations, you are going to save this country." And I asked him, "How so?" And he says, "Standing on your ground." I immediately assume at the time, this is April, Commissioner, you will recall that on the 5th of March, I had appeared before the Portfolio Committee on Police, where I narrated the relationship between Brown and the minister, that the minister has denied knowing Brown in Parliament on record. If you so wish, you can access the YouTube and go to the records of Parliament, the Portfolio Committee on Police, on the 5th of March, 2025. And that recording, if you get it on YouTube, is at 4 hours, 26 minutes, where my presentation comes in towards the end of that sitting of the Portfolio Committee. I think I spoke for plus minus 30 minutes plus there. So where I explain not only the issue of Brown Mokhotsi, but the wrong things that are happening in the organization. Where I even made reference to me reliving the experience I had in 2011. I presented it there before this Portfolio Committee. Now, I assume Portfolio Committee in Parliament are responsible for sharing this information with the Speaker, and the members of Parliament then must interrogate that. But unfortunately, that was the first and the last time I engaged with the Portfolio Committee on these matters of this serious interest. I'm aware they invited me to come back and talk to them about it. Maybe we'll engage with them when you get there, because I already presented something to them, and I must go back again and repeat the same thing. But nonetheless, the minister had denied knowing this person, which later the minister had confirmed to know the person when he was having a conversation with someone under the X platform.
You give a time where you start speaking on YouTube. Are you able to give a time where the minister made the denial? If you can't, it doesn't matter.
Chair, perhaps I may be of assistance. That is in his statement, and he's still to get to that part. I understood the general to be summarizing
All right,
what
you.
had transpired, presumably that triggered what he has here at page 320.2 from Mr. Mokhotsi, saying, "Congratulations, you are going to save the country."
Thank you.
Yeah.
With that summary, the chair might not be aware, but certainly Commissioner Khumalo is. It's 11 o'clock. We're in your hands, Chair, how we deal with this.
Let us take the. Sorry, perhaps we stop.
We're in your hands,
we
Chair.
stop
Thank
the
you.
general midway. Maybe, General, if you could finish the part that you were dealing with, and then we may adjourn where you think it's convenient.
Okay. No, I think this what the SC was.
Yes, you were at the point, I think, where you were saying the minister denied.
Yes.
Yes,
So-
in
so-
Parliament.
Yes.
Parliament.
So when he sends me this message of saying standing your ground, I assume that he's referring to that session we had in Parliament. Hence, I responded to that message, which a response follows that it's so unfortunate that it has come to this for doing what we are employed to do without any favor. So that's me writing to him. And his response was, no, General, I think there is a misconception. And I asked him to elaborate. And he says, there will be time one day, my brother. I have a funeral in Limpopo and we're burying next week. And I responded to him, please accept my condolences for your loss. And that's why we ended the communication with him at the time. So that's why I said, fast forward to that. There's other, maybe during the break, we might want to make copies of that, which then comes in later up until July.
Thank you. Let's take the adjournment now and resume at 11:15.
Thank you, Chair.
11.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 500ml Monster Energy. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
On the top stories, Thabo Bester's lawyer withdraws from his case and Mkhwanazi continues with testimony in the Madlanga Commission. For SAFM News, I am Ondela Mbana and a very good morning. We'll start with news just in. The lawyer for convicted murderer and serial rapist Thabo Bester has withdrawn from his case. Advocate Lerato Moela officially withdrew during the pre-trial hearing, which is underway in the Free State High Court in Bloemfontein. Bester's new lawyer, Advocate Mo Africa Wamaila, has notified the High Court that he has now taken up the matter. And more news just in. Businessman Sibusiso Zita, accused of the murder of the chef Tembekile Litlape, has been sentenced to 15 years imprisonment. Zita appeared in the High Court in Johannesburg this morning. He had been convicted of the murder of his former partner, whose body was found at their place of residence in Fourways in May last year. KwaZulu-Natal Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has accused the media of being complicit in the rot surrounding his allegations of corruption in the criminal justice system. He has been testifying before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria, charged with investigating his allegations of corruption, including his accusations against Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, who has since been put on leave of absence. Mkhwanazi explains the role journalists played in the matter.
The system of protecting the drug squad, media plays part. Journalists within media houses, they are part of this in pushing certain narrative. Why I say this is because a very well-known veteran, Mzilikazi of Africa, had contacted me almost immediately after this incident happened. Later, I think it will have been the beginning of the year, I received a phone call from the very same journalist, Mzilikazi of Africa. You remember the story I asked you about of what happened in Bangladesh? I said, yes. He said, but my colleague has just approached me, confronted me about that story and is asking him, why didn't he publish the story?
A man has started to serve a 60-year jail term after the High Court in the Free State sentenced him for the murder of the City Med Day Hospital CEO, Dr. Louis Simmons. Stanley Bagiri was the mastermind behind the shooting of Dr. Simmons in May 2018. Last year, the High Court had found Bagiri guilty of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, extortion, money laundering and possession of illegal firearm. The hitman had previously been handed a 22-year jail term. Charges against the other accused had been withdrawn. Cathy Mohlahlana reports.
Stanley Bagili, who is the mastermind in the killing of City Med Day Hospital CEO Dr. Louis Simmons, has been sentenced to spend 60 full years behind bars. Simmons was gunned down in the basement parking lot of the Prela Square shopping centre in Bloemfontein in May 2018. Bagili solicited more than 5 million rand from Dr. Simmons in exchange for speeding up the process of getting City Med license application for the expansion of the hospital beds. Aphumelele Mdlalane, SABC News, Bloemfontein.
ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula has summoned the Free State Party leadership to Luthuli House in Johannesburg. This after it announced the redeployment of some mayors, chief whips and speakers of 7 municipalities. The affected municipalities include Mafube, Moqhaka, Litzimeng, Nkentwana, Nala, Masilonyane and Lijwe-Leputswa. Last month, the Provincial Working Committee resolved to take strong action against underperforming municipalities. This followed highlighted failures in the AG's report and Parliament's Cooperative Governance Portfolio Committee's oversight visit. France's Interior Minister says just over 300 people were arrested during yesterday's demonstrations against the government's austerity plans. Trade union organizers say 1 million people turned out to protest, while the Interior Ministry has put the number at half that. The leader of France's Socialist Party, Olivier Faure, who is among the protesters, has called on the President Macron to take action.
I believe that with polls following protests and protests following votes, everyone has understood that the French people want change. Yet the president refuses, appointing after 2 censured prime ministers a third who is even closer to him. That will not calm anyone down. This anger will not subside unless he makes the choices that are needed.
Recapping the top story, the lawyer for convicted murderer and serial rapist Thabo Bester has withdrawn from his case. Advocate Lerato Mwela officially withdrew during the pre-trial hearing, which is underway in the Free State High Court in Bloemfontein. I'm on Delambana for SFM News Headlines at 11:30.
Danny Esther, or should I say the Tapo?
This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
first things first. Let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This
days
is
deep in the heart and art of jazz. From the 26th, 27th and 28th of September, you will be wowed by over 50 world-class acts who are ready to welcome you and yours to 4 magnificent stages at the Sandton Convention Centre. Take me there. Buy your tickets at Ticketmaster now.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
All right, you're listening to The Talking Point. Welcome to the third and final hour of the show. Yes, we're still going to be keeping an eye on the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. That particular session has now just, they've broken for tea, so we'll take you back as soon as it continues. And we're hearing yet the ongoing revelations, at least in as far as the Lieutenant General of the KwaZulu-Natal province is concerned, the commissioner there, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, and he's detailed quite a lot in as far as Brown Mokhotsi and how he believes he fits into this wider web that includes the minister and other individuals in as far as the influence of the SAPS is concerned, and why he believes he was driving particular agendas. So we'll continue with more out of the commission as they continue their work shortly. In the meantime, though, we're going to bring you this interview, and it's brought to you by the State Theatre. And we're talking now music in the air, coming to life on the stage at the South African State Theatre. It's more than a show. It's a journey through our heritage, memory, and identity. Tickets are available at Web Tickets and Pick and Pay for only 200 Rand. Don't miss out on Music in the Air, where the songs of our past meet the voices of today. The director of this particular show, Joel Zuma, joins us. Joel, good morning to you. Thank you for your time this morning.
Good morning to you, Cathy, and all the listeners, and thank you for having me.
Okay, so I'm looking at some of the stars in as far as the work that they have produced. We have Hugh Masekela, Miriam Makeba, Brenda Fassi, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, Lucky Dube. Look, it looks like it's going to be a real groove, isn't it? How did you choose the artists? Which songs are on the lineup?
Can you hear me?
Hello, Joel. No, your line broke off there, but we can hear you now again.
Cathy, it's already a groove, if I can say that, because the show has already opened at the State Theatre, and what a piece of theatre, and it's suitable for the whole family. People come there in big numbers to sing along to the songs of the 80s and 90s, and that's the music that we all really grew up on.
I imagine there's also quite a nostalgic element to it, right? It's the older you grow, the more you want to say, take me back. And I guess a lot of...
Absolutely. It is true. It came from the idea that, I've been in musical theatre for many years myself, easily 20 years. And having done your Barnard theatres, your Richard Loring Enterprises, your, songs from Jazztown with James, Joburg Theatre, and many other shows that I've done. And very often there's a lot of material that pays tribute to European artists. I've seen a lot of shows around tribute to ABBA, tribute to Elton John, to the Beatles, to Frank Sinatra, and many others. And the idea then came from there to say, we've got icons in South Africa, and I'm not seeing shows that are paying tribute to these icons. We grew up in the music of Lucky Dube, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, Brenda Fassie, Chico Twala, Mahlathini, Martella Queen, Soul Brothers, and many, Johnny Clark, PJ Powers. Who is doing a tribute to these artists? And we thought Heritage Month approached the State Theatre, and they were like very happy to have us, and hence the show Music in the Air. Paying tribute to our artists, our very own icons.
Ah, fantastic. Tell us a little bit more about the creative team that's helping to put all of this together, whether it's the directors, choreographers. And, it's undeniable that sometimes people show up to watch a show just because they know that one of their faves is going to be in it. So you can also speak to us about some of the I don't want to say the head honchos because I don't want to create division. Everybody's important, but speak to us about some of the crowd puller names that you're also you're also sort of hoping will help to draw audiences.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Cathy. Yes, we have such a jam-packed team. Let me start with our creative team. We've got Victor Masondo, the legendary bass player, producer, music director, and we've got a very young, energetic, award-winning choreographer Lucky Tele, and of course got myself as director. And when it comes to Victor Masondo, he's actually worked with Miriam Makeba, he's worked with Yvonne Chaka Chaka, he's worked with a lot of these artists. So you know that the music department is covered. You are in for quite a good ride. But I also want to draw people to the story of the 80s and 90s and how the music, or at least it reflected what we were going through as a country. When we were mourning, when we were crying, when we were fighting, when we were oppressed, our music reflected that sound. But when we got our democracy after the release of President Nelson Mandela and all the other political leaders, our music reflected that. I mean, if you think of songs like Jabulani, now the country was in a better state. But there's a whole story around the music and the political turmoil of the time and what the music meant to the people and how it gave hope even during the difficult times in South Africa. Yes.
Fantastic. A show like this, of course, it's quite a vibe in and of itself. I wonder, are people on their feet most of the time? What is the journey that you're hoping audiences are going to take away? Because trust me, Joel, looking at just the repertoire that you've put together, I know I wouldn't be sitting down in that audience for the entire show. At some point, I'll need to get up on my feet.
Absolutely. It is wonderful to see people singing along to the songs, whether, it's a Lucky Dube song, it's a Brenda song, it's a Mambazo song, or any of the songs that people really enjoy. I mean, a song like Jabulani, for instance, You Can't Sit Down, or is it some of the Johnny Clark numbers, or is it Mango Grooves, special stuff. There's so much. We do 24 songs. The show is 2 hours long. It's got a lot of spectacular dancing and a very insightful narration and acting as well, and then a live band on stage just singing songs. You never know what song is coming next, and when it comes through, you're just like, oh, you did it, and people just sing along, and it's very hard for them to sit down, even though it's in a theater. But it really takes us all back to the times where the music really reflected us as a society, and it's wonderful to see the response.
Okay, anything you want to add quickly before we wrap it up?
Absolutely. I just want to say that people in Gauteng in general, not just Pretoria, Music in the Air, the musical, is at State Theatre every night at 7 p.m. And then on Saturday, we've got a 3 p.m. show and a 7 p.m. and then on Sunday we've got a 3 p.m. show as well. Get your tickets at Web Tickets or at the box office at the State Theatre. Come in numbers, come and enjoy. We've got a beautiful lineup of artists, dancers, and you are in for quite a ride. We're running until the 28th, so we've got one more week to go, and I hope to see everybody there.
Wonderful. You've just heard about Music in the Air, the unforgettable musical journey celebrating South Africa's greatest hits of the 80s and 90s. 80s and 90s babies, where are you? This is your show. You can catch it live, if you've just heard, from the 12th to the 28th of September at the Arena Theatre at the South African State Theatre. Written, directed by Joel Zuma, with music direction by Victor Masondo and Joel Zuma, and the choreographer there by Lucky Gele. Those tickets, only 200 Rand at Web Tickets and Pick and Pay. Music in the Air, where heritage, music and theatre come together for a night to remember. And of course, this interview has been brought to you by the South African State Theatre. On that note, let's take you back to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry.
Head of crime intelligence. But here I only reflected to what I presented. Perhaps when Gerald Komala comes here, he might want to explain his part on what he presented. So my presentation was towards the end of the sitting of the committee. And when, as I said, indicated there, at 4 hours, 26 minutes, that's where I start speaking. And the minister, when I finished speaking, and then the chairperson of Portfolio Committee afforded the minister a chance to respond to almost everything that was presented, including National Commissioner. So the minister then, as he's closing his response, he then said he does not know the gentleman that I'm talking about, Bran Mokhotsi. And the meeting just ended there. That was towards the end. I think it's 4:52 on the video. That's where the minister is speaking. So as I said, this is available on YouTube, on the parliamentary website. You should be able to find that meeting. And I must thank the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Cameron, for affording me the opportunity, because it was not his decision to decide the way forward. I believe it will have been the collective in that committee that must decide what must happen next. But he afforded me opportunity to present this to the executive. So what followed thereafter, I'm not going to talk much about it. Commissioners, as I said before, that the minister will then appear through a X platform at Londcare, Londcare, and this was on the 30th of March, 2025, where the minister seems to be having a telephone conversation, but it's in Zulu. So if you understand this Zulu, then we'll be able to tell, otherwise someone will have to translate. Where he's saying here that, no, that Bran Mokhotsi is my comrade, he's just a comrade from Northwest, not an associate. So as I said, we might want to go to the UK to establish what it means, each one of those words, associate and comrade. So, commissioners, in my view, when I see the...
Before you proceed, has it been verified that the person on that telephone call is the minister?
Well, the voice is the minister. Well, I guess we have not gone deeper into investigation, but it's a minister talking. Everyone can hear, and she posted it.
Yes.
Because she's speaking back. They're having a conversation over the phone.
Okay.
So it's something that through investigation on the record, you can be able to obtain that with ease. Okay. But it's there for everyone to listen to it.
All right.
Commissioner.
Sorry, before that, Ms. Silo, can we assume that we will, for purposes of the record of the commission,
yes,
get the parliamentary clip that he references
at paragraph
is referring
199.
to, and then also this conversation that is referred to in 201.
We shall,
for purpose of the record.
Commissioner, you mean we download
yes.
and make, okay, we can attend to that. Okay, thank you.
So, Commissioners, my conclusion on this matter, how Bran Mokhotsi is engaging on police matters, and yet is not a police officer, it made me conclude that this person, without being a police officer, has an access not just to police officers, but to the classified information of the police. Then here is in position of a crime intelligence presentation. Someone that was in that room will have to explain how does Bran Mokhotsi get hold of such. And the Bran Mokhotsi knowing even the diary of the minister, for him to say the minister is in Siggy, when I ask the chief of staff, he confirms that the minister is in Siggy. It's a public knowledge that the minister is in Siggy. So this is a man that knows every move of the minister. But despite all this public knowledge, the minister still denied knowing this person in Parliament. I find it strange, but it is not my place to decide what must happen thereafter. Commissioners, I want to move to the next one, perhaps.
Yes, please do.
With regard to what the team is busy with. The GCI Ops, I said earlier, is operating in Gauteng, dealing with this drug squad. As they are investigating, and part of their cases that land on their desk involve Vusmus Cathy Mohlahlana. And so they will arrest, they will retrieve phones, and they will download phones, and they will analyze phones. So through that communication, which the team will elaborate further, but I can indicate that the conversations that are picked out from that phone, it's a communication between Brown Mokhotsi and Cathy Mohlahlana. The two of them, they are communicating. As I said, the team is going to come before this commission where they're going to come and confirm the authenticity of the communication that is there as they were doing the investigation, and they've downloaded this conversation. But what was of a concern with the communication that is happening, commissioners, between Brown Mokhotsi and Cathy Mohlahlana, one conversation that is there, it's about the disbandment of the political killings task team. And this communication happened on the 31st of December 2024. And his message, one of the messages that he sends, Brown Mokhotsi sends to Cathy Mohlahlana, I'm going to quote as extracted from the WhatsApp, that today is the day and Mohlahlana should just stand back. So this is what Mokhotsi is telling Mohlahlana, that today is the day, just stand back. And we know that the minister's letter was signed on the 31st of December. And Brown Mokhotsi is talking about the disbandment of the team on the same day to Mohlahlana. So which means he knows that it's going to happen on the very same day.
Sorry, General. You've only read that today is the day you should stand back. Where do you read that they are talking about the disbandment of the task team?
It's extracted from other communications that are happening in the phone. That's why I'm saying, commissioners, I don't want to go deeper into other extracts. The team is going to come and explain. I'm just highlighting the issues that concern me. That while I'm fighting the disbandment of the team and I'm trying to ask myself a question, who's behind this? And then I pick up this, that, oh, this man says today is the day. It simply means he knew, because there's other conversation that the team is going to come and show before this commission on what other conversation they were having even prior to that message. But that what caught me, because what is not indicated here was a concern that Mohlahlana had about the search that happened in his house. And this then influenced the response from Mokhotsi, saying that stand back and relax, today is the day, about the disbandment of the team. That's why I'm saying that on the day that Mokhotsi knows about the disbandment of the team. I had said earlier on record, dear commissioners, that Chief of Staff said to me, the letter was drafted somewhere and it was sent to the minister and back and forth until it was signed. So whoever that drafted the letter, I hope Brown Mokhotsi will have a knowledge as to who the person is. If it is not him, who then the person is that was drafting this letter that was going to the Chief of Staff and eventually being signed by the minister. And on the 1st of January, while all of you, January 2025, while South Africans are celebrating the New Year, Brown Mokhotsi informed Mr. Mohlahlana that he will be meeting with Minister Mchunu and DNC Lieutenant General Sibiya. The text reads as follows: good day, I have arranged a meeting for Sibiya and the minister. Must have a solution. So this is the 1st of January 2025. The context of these meetings that must be arranged, I do not know. But you can begin to see that there is a link between the minister and Jarasbia and perhaps Cathy Mohlahlana, because he is talking about that is going to be arranging these meetings. So later that evening, this was around about 22 minutes to 11 in the evening, Mohlahlana sent another message to Brown indicating that this is the 1st of January, commissioners, in the evening.
General, apologies. Yes, I was correcting that.
To Cat, not to Brown.
I beg your pardon?
You said he sent it to Brown. I'm saying
Mohlahlana sent it to Mohlahlana.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
they sometimes confusing me, forgive me, commissioners. Yes, Brown Mohlahlana sent a message at 22:38 in the evening. He sends it a WhatsApp to Mohlahlana indicating that the task team that came to your house and harassed you has been dissolved or disbanded. That's a message that is written by Mr. Mohlahlana to Mr. Mohlahlana.
In general, by this point, you still don't know.
We don't know
because
anything.
You only came to know about it on the 2nd of January.
Exactly.
The disbandment decision, that is.
Exactly. And from the record, as we investigate, commissioners, I can confirm most likely, I'm not saying that is the truth, that even the National Commissioner's Office that were recipient of the letter that was dispatched on the 31st, they received it late in the afternoon, I think after 4. So ordinarily, people working in the office by that time, it's a New Year's Eve, they're most likely not in the office, but that's when it was dispatched from the Chief of Staff to the office of the National Commission. But Brown Mohlahlana knows about it on a public holiday. And there's no one in the office, then in the evening, he then sends this message to Cathy Mohlahlana. So if I move forward, commissioners,
You should now be at your paragraph 209.
Oh, yeah, yes, Mohlahlana then gave a response. But his response was not on the 1st, it was the following day, the 2nd of January. And he wrote on his message response, "Oh, really? I see you tried calling me last night. When is this happening?" This is Mohlahlana asking Mohlahlana. And Mohlahlana responded on his WhatsApp. He says, they got the letter on Monday. As we speak, they are bringing all the dockets to Spear. So I'm bringing this to the commissioners, that this is a person who's not in the police. He already demonstrated, he sent me the copy of the OPs and the likes a year before, and now he's talking about the dismantlement of the units and the dockets that are moving to Spear. Although a couple of months later, Jarasbia write letters demanding these dockets must come from KZN and come up. So Mohlahlana already knew that it's going to happen. It's here, and it's written.
Can I just confirm? So on the 2nd of January, if you would just remind us, on the 2nd of January, General Sibia hadn't yet demanded the dockets.
No.
They said the 2nd of January.
Yeah. No, nobody. This letter went out to the public first on the 2nd of January. That's when he became aware of it.
Yes.
And remember, I said the National Commission was not around. The letters came, I think, a month or so later.
Okay.
The first communication from Jarasbia, and the other communication that followed thereafter.
Thank you.
But the letter of the minister, which I want to draw the attention to of the commissioners, that the letter of the minister to disband the political killings task team addressed only 3 things, which when we are investigating, we are dealing with drug operation in Gauteng. And we know these drugs are coming from outside the country, coming in here, they get processed and get distributed. Western Cape become one of the affected provinces because of these drug wars. But the letter of the minister addresses these 3 things. One of them, it's about the discussions that they must have on border policing. there must be engagement with regard to border policing. We know that there is an agency that was established by government, and there is this discussion about moving some responsibility from the South African Police Service to Home Affairs in terms of border security. So, but this is what the minister is talking about. They need to address the border things. And the second item the minister is addressing on the letter is a suspension of the filling of position at crime intelligence. I don't know what of an interest is that, but he put a stop to the filling of vacancies at crime intelligence. That's why to date, there are a lot of vacancies that we have. The head of crime intelligence, KZN, has still not been appointed from that time when that one retired until now. The minister put a stop on the filling of vacancies. The third thing that is addressed on the letter is the closure of the political task team. He just talks about the closure of the team, that it doesn't add any value in policing in our country. And it ends there. It doesn't say anything about the case dockets. It does not mention that these dockets must move from point A to point B. It doesn't say, it doesn't touch the dockets. He only speaks about the closure of the team. So that's what the letter is. That's why the surprise on Mokgothi's message seems to suggest that Spear, the dockets have been brought to Spear. And to confirm that, this Mokgothi, I think he wanted to give assurance of his knowledge of this correspondence, that Mokgothi forwarded that letter of the disbandment of the team, which is signed by the Minister of Police. He forwarded that letter to Mohlahlana. So he sent him the letter that's supposed to be internal letter from the Minister of Police to the National Commissioner, signed on the 31st, and the first is a holiday. The second, Brian Mokgotsi has the letter, and he sends this letter to Cathy Mohlahlana.
How did he do that? Did he attach it to the WhatsApp?
He attached it to the WhatsApp. So I must indicate, as I conclude on this one, that at the time, neither myself, the National Commissioner, or the project manager, Jara Kumalu, knew about this decision to close. So it is something that the team picked it up when they are continuing the investigation. Had we not arrested this Cathy Mohlahlana and have access to that phone, we probably might not have known about this. So this is just to display the level of connectivity that Brian Mokgotsi has in the police. Well, he said it in public that, which is on the record on TV, that he was with a part of the operation to bring Thabo Bester into the country. He said that. And I know that Jar Khan was in that operation too. So it's something on the side that will need to be checked that I don't want to delve into. The special task force were in that operation too, that flew over to that country, although they didn't get off the plane. They picked up these people and they came back. So how that operation was done, how was it coordinated, but it was not authorized by Gerald Kumar as the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, for sure. So I'm not going to delve into that, but Brian Mokgotsi maybe is invited here. He will have to explain this involvement that he has, because he's not registered as a source in the police, but he has access to everything in the police. So I'm at 213, so I'm not sure,
Yes,
should I move on?
And that's the conclusion of your testimony as regards the executive. However, when we're dealing with, I think, business people yesterday, we stood down some paragraphs because they involve Mr. Mokgotsi as well, and we said we'll deal with them today. And you should pick it up from paragraph 240 at page 74 of your statement. So it will be 240 to 242.
Okay. Again, commissioners here, as a team, because they've extracted a lot of information, and one of the conversations that is there between Brian Mokgotsi and Cathy Mohlahlana on the 26th of January, Brian Mokgotsi sends a message to Mohlahlana reminding him to submit his invoice. So the from the intelligence gathering, commissioners, I'm informed that Mohlahlana did provide a proof of his invoice that was submitted, and the payment that was supposed to be made to him from the SCPS contract that he had with the South African Police Service to be expedited. And after that, Mokhotsi sends a screenshot of his conversation with the Minister Mchunu, including that he plans to have a meeting with the Deputy National Commissioner, General Sibia, and the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, to discuss the finalization of Khumalo and General Mkhwanazi matters. This is a conversation they are having, the two of them. That, yes, there are two General Mkhwanazis in the police. It's myself and the one who's acting in Mpumalanga. One might conclude that maybe they are talking about the one in Mpumalanga, but it is a team of KZN that is involved with investigation in Gauteng. That's why I concluded that it's me that has been discussed here. I do not know what discussions they are having, but there is a communication that is attached, commissioners, there and annexed to our document.
Let me assist you there, General. At page 75, it's a blue screenshot. However, we've updated your files overleaf. Is the enlarged version of it. That would be page 75.1 for easier reading. Thank you.
Commissioners, this is available. I don't have to read everything that is there, but this is just an indication of the communication about the meetings that are in Durban. What is of an interest on these commissioners, as I read it, is that in the message that he sends is that he is in Durban and is talking about a Phoenix saga, which relates to a lady. And that was just a question mark as to what Phoenix saga is there. Which is part of what the team is investigating. There's something that was happening in Durban that he was communicating with the minister about. But in the end of that conversation, that's where he brings me, if you go towards the bottom, that's where he's talking about the employment of cybersecurity people that are supposed to assist. I do not know what his involvement with the cybersecurity, but it is there. And that's where, in the same conversation, he makes a reference to the funding. And as General Kumar and team are going to come here, they're going to show you that he had facilitated the funding of the guest of the Minister of Police when they attended the ANC rally in Cape Town. There's receipts, there's proof, there's hotel accommodation, and there are many things that the team has collected that they're going to come here and display. But I was just extracting this, and I wanted to focus on the last paragraph when he says, also meeting with the DNC and the Chief of Staff today in Durban for finalization of Khumalo and General Mkhwanazi's matter. That drew my attention as to what is it that they are planning, what is it that they are discussing, which a conversation happened in January, as I said, of 2025. As an extract from the WhatsApp.
General, you say this is a screenshot found in Mohlahlana's phone.
That's correct.
And sent to him by Brown Mokhotsi.
Yes.
So it's not found in Brown Mokhotsi's phone?
No. We have not gone to Brown Mokhotsi because the investigation, the team is dealing with the cases that are before them. And the cases that are before them involve Cathy Mohlahlana. We have not registered any case against Brown Mokhotsi. So he's not a suspect of anything. That's why you couldn't just go to him at the time and conduct a search and pick up things, because we'll be victimizing people. Why would you do that? If there's no case, we have no reason to go after him. So, but as we are picking up these things, we then see this communication. And I must indicate, commissioners here, if you look at the top of that screenshot. Bran Mokhotsi have served the person that he was communicating to when he made a screenshot as Senzo Mchunu. It is Bran Mokhotsi that I guess is going to be invited to indicate who did he save with the name Senzo Mchunu. It could be someone else. I'm not saying that it's a minister. He might have used the minister's name, but he served someone else. But I guess the evidence is going to be produced on this. We'll be able to investigate and determine who will he save as a Senzo Mchunu.
The greeting, though, does say morning minister, but
exactly.
That does not necessarily detract from what you have just
Yeah.
said.
So I'm just saying that if he comes and denies that that is not Senzo Mchunu, it's someone else. But then if he address morning minister, it could be another minister that is saved as Senzo Mchunu. So as we connect the dots, this is a picture that is appearing that, okay, there's this relationship. And again, we haven't gone to Bran Mokhotsi's phone, we have not gone to Minister Senzo Mchunu's phone, equally so, to check these conversations. So I think that's just about everything, Essie.
You had touched, General, on a question of funding. I just want to check, is it what's reflected at item 2 of that message? Is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about something else?
That is correct. So the conversation here that talks about the funding of 20, we really didn't know what is funding of 20 because we know the people that were funded earlier in January, they were less than 20 that went to Cape Town. The flights were booked and everything, paid off by Cathy Mohlahlana.
Yes.
And so this discussion about the funding of 20, and to make a reference that this person is the one I said has a 3 billion contract with SAPS. We know, I don't know whether there's a 3 billion contract somewhere. I know that Cathy Mohlahlana had a contract with SAPS of 360 million rand. So I do not know what is a 3 billion contract is. But these are conversation screenshots that he sends to Cathy Mohlahlana.
We will pick it up with another witness. Perhaps better clarity will be provided then. Is there anything else you would like to draw the Commissioner's attention to insofar as this screenshot is concerned?
Of Bran Mokhotsi?
Yeah, insofar as Bran Mokhotsi is...
No, Commissioners, for me, I conclude that the Minister invited this Bran Mokhotsi, or he shared too much of the police things with a person who's not supposed to be part of the police. And this Bran Mokhotsi seems to suggest that, from reading of everything, that he has a real influence to the Minister, or the Minister has an ear to this Bran Mokhotsi, so he's able to speak things and to the Minister, for Minister to believe, and he knows what's happening in the police, but not only at the Minister's office. He also knows what's happening with the investigations, indication that him and General Sibia have contacts, and he seems to have access to crime intelligence. That's why he will bring Jar Khan to the picture. So this is a person that we know that if he claims he went to Tanzania, he will have perhaps been a companion of Jar Khan. So it's a person that has wide range of access into the police, classified information, everything. So he's allowed to dictate terms in how the policing must operate. So if this team did not investigate this Gauteng drug cartel, we would not have picked up these things. So the picture then becomes clear that, the lack of disbanding the team, perhaps it had to do with this. But I'm not a minister. The minister will come and conclude and explain himself. Why will he last meet with the National Commissioner on Saturday, and 3 days later he signed such a letter? That is very critical in the operations of the police, without talking to the National Commissioner directly.
Yep.
Please make me understand this. If the issue was about Gauteng, so I assume it's the GCI ops.
That's correct.
What's being disbanded is the PKTT, which, even though it operates in other areas like the Eastern Cape, for example, its focus is KwaZulu-Natal. Now, I hear nothing about, for example, the 10 members, was it 10, I think, that were sent up to assist the GCI ops. I hear nothing that says, and they must be removed from Gauteng and back to the disbanded PKTT. Now, if my thinking along those lines is correct, the question would be, if the issue is about Gauteng and the GCI ops, how does that get disrupted if what is now being disbanded is the PKTT in KwaZulu-Natal?
Commissioner, it is exactly that which triggered my involvement in this. I was minding my business in KZN as a province. I had sent members to go and assist the GCI ops. I started getting report of what's happening in the GCI ops. And I started getting myself being attacked by some journalists in the media putting my stories out there. And I started asking questions, why are these things happening? So as I track back and I'm getting these reports from what this team is doing in Gauteng, and I started connecting the dots and the picture started emerging. They invited me into this thing, commissioners. Had they left KZN with a team like that and dealt with the GCI ops, perhaps I wouldn't be sitting here today. But they invited me into the picture because we are disbanding something that's operating in KZN. That is where I'm responsible for. And you're not giving me the reasons. And I'm trying to reach out to find out what is the reason, and I'm not getting answers. So I keep having that question mark as to why, what made you sign this letter? Why are you disbanding this team? Why is it bothering you? And then when I hear what they are doing, those ones in Gauteng, then the confirmation is that it's a missed target. They were worried about the people carrying the dockets in Gauteng. And this country owes the two sergeants, very junior members, who started this fire in Gauteng. They don't sleep at home today. Their families are disrupted. They started this fire in Gauteng. And Kumalo took a responsibility of protecting them with the team from KZN. I suspect that the people that wanted to deal with this too, they could not access them because there was this KZN squad around them. So in thinking that they're seeing the KZN squad, they assume that it is the political killings task team that is running this operation. So to disband the team, you'll see the messages, the instructions of General Sibiya's letter says, shut down members must go back to their units and get every file, every evidence that is in that file. Bring it here. So the interest was on stopping the investigation, and the people that they see in their face is the political killings task team, the 10. They are not aware of a GCI ops. The people that bring the GCI ops into the surface are people within crime intelligence, because the GCI ops operates at crime intelligence. It's a counterintelligence operation. I had said earlier, General Khan was acting there and was moved. So this operation is running without him part of it. So it is people from crime intelligence that knows about the operation that only brings it to the fore. But before the letter, those that maybe influenced the minister, they thought it is a political killings task team. That's why with us having displayed the performance of the team, the meritorious experts of this world, academias, who took an opportunity to talk bad about the team, being influenced by people, will come to this forum and explain where did they get this information from if the performance is like this and you are writing this correspondence of saying this team is still a squad, fighting squad, and so forth.
So do I understand you to be saying this, General? There were no instructions at the time of disbandment and even at the time of General Sibiya's letter that related to the GCI ops and the 10 officers from KZN who had gone up to Gauteng to assist. No instructions at all related specifically to the GCI ops and to the 10 who had gone up to assist.
Chair, if I may, before the witness responds, General Mkhwanazi referenced letters where he spoke of the instruction to bring all investigations and what happens to all members of the task team. May I be permitted to direct him to the documents?
May I get that more directly, please?
Okay.
Because the broad statement that all members must go, it could
Indeed.
only have been to those who are on the ground servicing the PKTT as such, and not those that may have left KZN and were in a sense not really servicing the PKTT. So,
Chair, I think what we should
I'm
do.
not
Yes.
countering what you are saying. I just
Because it all depends on the wording. It could very well be those who are members of PKTT go back to their respective stations wherever they are located at the time.
Let's get clarity from the
Now,
General.
General, if you please go to Annexure MK10. That would start at your page 187. And at the same time, if you could have regard to the second part of MK10, starting at page 190. Those are the two letters you have included, signed by General Sibia. If you have located them, please start at page 188. I think what you reference in terms of investigations and records is at paragraph 5, and its sub-paragraphs. Then the second letter is the one at 190 is the one that speaks to what must happen to PKTT members.
Okay, Commissioners, this letter is annexed. It's dated the 4th of February, 2025. It is authored by Deputy National Commissioner, Lieutenant General Sibia. He addressed this thing to the Divisional Commissioner, Detectives and Forensic Service. Paragraph 5 reads as follows, I quote, "In compliance with the aforementioned directive of the Minister of Police, you are directed to engage with the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence with a view to do a proper handing over and to follow all processes necessary to conduct a handing over process. This includes, but not limited to, 5.1, a status report of all cases. 5.2, a case register wherein all the cases were recorded and current status of court-going cases and cases under investigation. 5.3, all cases or projects, documentation relevant to the political killings task team. This should include all evidential material, documents, electronic recordings, etc. It must be booked into the SCP-13 or in possession of the team or stored in any storage facility. 5.4, all human and physical resources are listed, as well as report on all financial expenditure for the duration of the operation of the task team.
Then we go to the second letter that was started at page 190. And in particular, you might want to refer to paragraph 3 thereof. I apologize.
Please repeat what
It's because I knock it and then it distorts the sound. I was referring you, General, to the letter starting at page 190, still
Yes.
part of MK10, and I was saying to the point, perhaps you might want to have regard to paragraph 3 thereof.
This is a letter that was written by General Sibia on the 22nd of April, 2025. It is addressed to the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, as well as Divisional Commissioner Detectives and Forensic. The headings, the deactivation and disbandment of the National Task Team on Political Killings. Paragraph 3 reads as follows, a final feedback report on the finalization of this process, including confirmation that all task team members have reported back to their stations of origin, is awaited on or before the 25th of April, 2025, end quote.
I don't know if that answers your questions, Chair, or whether you'd want General Mkwanazi to comment further. Thank you.
Maybe it does, but I would imagine it has to be read in the context of the letter of the 4th of February.
Indeed.
from which I understand everything relates to what the PKTT as such
Yes.
was involved in. So in that context, that would not necessarily mean that everything is being killed, as it were. But if you read the paragraph that the Lieutenant General just read, then it may indeed be read.
But may I also...
It may be read to refer to everybody, because if it says all members must go back to wherever they came from,
and I think
then I would imagine maybe it means that even those that were assisting the GCI ops must...
Perhaps it might assist if I
uprooted,
remind the commissioners of...
just for the
sorry.
transcription, let's avoid
apologies, Chair.
So must be uprooted and go back from wherever they came.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Chair. My apologies. And I was going to say that the points that the Chair makes are very correct. But I wanted to remind us of the testimony of General Mkhwanazi yesterday regarding the secondment of the members of the task team and his ongoing engagements with General Khumalo to determine when it is they could get back to the task team. So in the context of them being expected, the secondment to end and to revert to KZN, at least I read the instruction at page 190 that all members of the task team go back to their respective stations. General Mkhwanazi had indicated that the members of the task team come from various stations and are registered with various stations in KZN. So an instruction that each one of them report back to their stations, I would think by definition extends to those deployed to the GCI ops. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, thank you.
Ms. Silla, I was going to ask this question of the General just to get clarity on that.
Yes, Commissioner.
General, in the time that your 10 members of the task team were seconded to the GCI ops, did they remain members of the task team in the time that they are in Gauteng and assisting General Khumalo?
That is correct, Commissioners. These are members that were part of the task team that moved up to Gauteng.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes. Chair, you covered. Thank you.
I just wanted to check, do we have the letter dated 17/01/2025?
The one that is referred to in the letter of 22nd. No, we don't. This, if you recall, this would have been directed to the Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence. So it would have, if it were utilized, it would have come before this one in terms of date-wise, but it's not part of General Mkhwanazi's annexures at this juncture. But to the extent that perhaps it might be necessary to complete the scene on this conversation, we will ensure that the next witness, and perhaps the Crime Intelligence Divisional Commissioner, General Khumalo, to ensure that it is in his pack. And at the time of dealing with the issue, then we will cross-reference these annexures. Thank you. Chair, on a statement, we would have completed this part of the evidence, and we're just completed at paragraph 242, which would then take us to 243. Generally, paragraph 243, you start a different topic under the heading political interference. Do you see that?
Yes.
You start this at 243. Will you take your testimony, pick it up from there, remembering when you go over leave to skip page 75.1? It would continue then at page 76.
Okay.
When you're ready, thank you.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, this is just to display the level of involvement or intervention that the minister has, or interference that the minister has with regard to the work of the police, which is inappropriate of a person on his level. On this political interference, what I'm displaying here, Commissioners, is that the task team minister issued an instruction in December. And the task team continues to work in KZN. And an incident happens after his instruction on the, in February, Commissioners, where a councillor is killed in KZN.
And once again, for the record, please give the year of that February. And I think you are talking about what you've set out at paragraph 244 of your statement.
Yeah, that's correct. An incident happens in 2024 February where a councillor is killed. And the police arrested two hit.
General, yes.
You said 2024. Your statement reads differently.
2025, my apologies, Commissioner.
And in fact, your paragraph of 244 has got the full date. Perhaps you just might want to take that into consideration.
Okay, on the 5th of February, 2025, after the shooting incident that had occurred in one of the small districts in KwaZulu-Natal, which is called the Lembe district. For those who are familiar, it's in around Palito side. A councillor was killed, Mr. Mapida, and 2 arrests were effected. The station, knowing the procedures that we have, that when an incident of this nature involves councillors, they must communicate with the political killings task team so that they can take over the docket. And the district commissioner directed as such, and that is Major General Gopal. Major General Gopal then contacted me and informed me about his engagement with the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu.
Before you proceed, can you place into context Major General Gopal? Who is he? Where is he based? What station, if necessary, and his level within SAPS? If you perhaps have regard to paragraph 244.
Major General Gopal is the district commissioner of Ilembe district. So the incident that happened under his jurisdiction. So General Gopal experienced a situation where the minister calls him and he wants to be briefed about the incident that happened. So the minister didn't bother to phone the national commissioner or phone me, but he phones the district commissioner to ask about that incident that involved the matter of a council. And General Gopal responded to the minister and explained to him what has transpired and so forth. And then he indicated to him that the case docket has been referred to the political killings task team for investigation. And according to General Gopal, the minister was very unhappy about this. And he asked, why did they give the case docket to the political killings task team? And the General Gopal explained to the minister that this is a standard procedure that we have. The political killings task team, they are better resourced. They've got an investigation capacity and contacts to help investigate the cause of this matter and the people behind it. So the minister had wanted General Gopal to keep him up to date about the status of that investigation, although he was upset about the fact that that docket was given to the political killings task team. So he has a minister who's upset to the district commissioner about who's carrying the docket, instead of appreciating the work done by the police, that they've arrested the perpetrators. But that is not of an interest to the minister. What makes him upset, more focused, is why is the docket given to the task team? This will have been on the 5th of February. And again, on the 15th of February, the minister reached out to General Gopal and seeking update. And the General Gopal then indicated that the information about the status of the case is with the investigating officer from the political killing task team. The least he can do is to send those investigating officers to brief the minister about the status of this case that he was asking General Gopal, because General Gopal is not carrying that investigation. But the minister then responded to General Gopal and said, no, he is covered, which means he does not need that political task team to come and brief him. And General Gopal has deposited an affidavit about that interaction that he had with the minister, which is attached on our records here marked MK21 as a reference. So,
before you proceed, two things, Chair. MK21 is the affidavit, typed affidavit. So it doesn't have signature at the back. We're trying to track down the original affidavit from, which this was transcribed. That goes to page 331. And beyond that is another document that I'm going to request the witness to explain, and then he can speak to the annexure in its totality. General, you understand that the affidavit annexed, purportedly by Major General Gopal in your annexure, is not signed, correct?
Yes.
And attached to that is another document appearing from page 333, which you have combined with that affidavit. I would like to invite you to talk to the second document from 333 and explain to the commissioners what that is.
This is a communication between General Gopal and the Minister of Police as extracted, which reflects the date, the time, a message from the minister, a response from General Gopal, a message from the minister, and a response from General Gopal. And it starts from the 5th of February, and it goes down the page as the commissioners will appreciate that the last conversation, it is almost at the end of March where the communications are happening.
I see on this document, it interchanges between Minister Mkunu, such that it would indicate missed voice, and Anthony on the other. Who is Anthony, do you know?
I beg your pardon, I didn't get it.
If you look at page 333.
Yes.
Let's look at the first entry. It states Minister Mkunu, and then it indicates messages and calls are end-to-end. Encrypted, only people in this chat can read, listen to, or share them. Then it once again references Minister Mkunu and Minister 3 times. The next entry, which is indicated as 5th of February 2025 at 13:33 and 55 seconds. Against that is an entry, Anthony. You deleted this message. My question to you is, do you know who Anthony is?
Anthony, it's Major General Gopal.
Okay.
That is his name.
Thank you for the clarification. And then it continues until Overleaf, I think, at page 334. You may proceed. with whatever further comments you wanted to make about this document.
No, the 334, I think, is still an extract from the conversation, the messages that are with Gerald Gopal. It does not necessarily mean that they are with Minister Mkhunu per se. But it's part of conversation that is extracted from Gerald Gopal. It shows the other communication, not necessarily only with the minister.
So how do we read this? Are you suggesting to the commission that from the first entry to about just past the halfway point of the page, I don't want to mention the name that is written there, everything above is a communication between Major General Gopal and the minister, but everything else below, you see there's a word in parentheses before an ID number. Are you suggesting everything below that now no longer involves the minister, but it's communication that is within Major General's telephone?
Commissioner, yes, this communication is not necessarily with the minister, but if you read the last message on 333,
yes,
which is dated the 30th of March 2025 at 10:59 in the morning,
yes,
where Gerald Gopal, with the name Anthony, where he typed that minister, local branch may raise concern on candidate as from the charter I picked up, or the chat I picked up. Let me explain to the commission what this communication is about. This communication is not about the case of a councillor. And it's a culture of the experience we have as a police that when the executive authority is engaging on a political project, there's always blurred lines about focusing on political issues, but you want to bring the portfolio of being the executive authority and you invite the police to be part of this political program. What had happened here, there was going to be by-elections. A person who was a councillor had resigned from the position. And there was that person, for whatever reason they were having in that political party, he resigned and he joined another political party. So he was campaigning for another political party. So the minister then came into the area as a deployee of his party to assist the campaigning of another candidate to be elected. So part of his, when he arrived, he requested, actually he didn't even communicate with myself nor Gerald Gopal, he communicated with the station commander. He said to the station commander he wants to meet the station management at the police station because he wants to ask them about a case. The case allegedly that involves the councillor that had resigned from this site and moved over campaigning for another political party. So the minister was interested to know what is happening with that case because this man has got a case. So, which means they wanted to make sure that he's arrested so he doesn't stand for the other party. So the minister called the station management. The station management communicated to Gerald Gopal. Gerald Gopal was sitting with me and he told me about it. And I said, I think you better go there. The minister cannot see it with the station management alone. Go there and find out what's going on. And at the same time, the station had already informed Gerald Gopal on what the minister's specific cases that he wants them to come and account to him about. Remember, he came there for campaigning, for election. But he wants the station to come and explain to him about the status of the case against a competitor for the election. So the station must brief him about it. Gerald Gopal obtained information with regard to the status of the case. So he went to a meeting. I guess the minister was surprised when Gerald Gopal landed there. That the minister suddenly, he meets Gerald Gopal, is not only station management alone. And then he inquires about this candidate. Unfortunately, for the people that are of that political party that minister belongs to, they had a mistaken identity. They thought the case that was open was against a candidate, but it was against the candidate's brother. Missed target again, like the PKTT and GCI. They missed the target there. And they realized that their complaint is unfounded. But beside that, there was a case. The feedback was given there, which was satisfactory with regard to the status of that case. Although it didn't concern them, But they were told, okay, the case is like this. But the question was, Minister, why would you want the station management to come in account to you about a specific case that involves a person who's competing with you in the political space? So which means if there was a case against this person, he was going to put pressure to the station management to make sure they arrest this person before the local elections that were going to take place. So fortunately, Gerald Kopal intervened. So when you see this communication that is attached here, it's more of a status of the case that Gerald Kopal needed to go and brief the minister about. That's what is here. So this is the type of behavior that we started seeing happening in the province. Well, the results of those elections are there for everyone to know. The person who resigned from this side and competed for this side, who won. It's not our business as the police. We shouldn't get involved with it. But this is the interference that when we talk about the executive authority that end up not knowing where to cross the line comes in. And we experience it a lot in the police.
Thank you, General. Just for the record, we do confirm that we have reached out to Major General Gopal. He would have to come and confirm precisely what the General has said. Is there any other matter you would like to deal with under that heading, political interference, or does that bring you to the conclusion?
So far, in terms of the executives we had in the police, it's the Minister Senzo Mchunu, with this level of interferences that I've displayed, and also General Cele, with the interference in terms of the disciplinary matters that I spoke about earlier. Although we're still going to talk about on the statement about other matters, but those are the two that were within the SAPS that I can flag of their roles. One example, not many, there are many other examples that I can put out there, but because I want to confine myself to the letter of the 31st of December and what happened thereafter, and to demonstrate how the executive authority get to be involved with operational decision, which is unethical in my understanding, that is crossing the line between policy making and operations, and bring the police to come and use the police as a weapon in political competition like that. We respect all the leaders of our communities. The police, whoever that is a leader of the community, is voted by the people, and we must serve them. That's what we do as government. So that's where I'm going to leave it here for now.
Thank you. We'll leave it there. The last category, remembering that all this conversation we've had relates to the press briefing you had on the 6th of July by you, collectively as the SAPS members. You had indicated that this interference is from all different quarters, and you listed them. So we've dealt with every category, by political women, parliamentarians, executives, you dealt with business people. You had listed the judiciary there as a heading. You picked that up from paragraph 159. If you could turn there. Commissioners before General Mkhwanazi decided to give one example per category. There were a few examples. In whittling it down and trying to make the evidence, his testimony manageable, the narrative is from page 159. There is a name that appears above that narrative.
Paragraph 159.
159.
Not page, yeah.
Yes, paragraph 159, thank you. There is a name that appears above paragraph 159. I'm not going to call out, it is wrong. I would like you to please redact that name, and the name must be Vusi Musi Mahlangu. But the rest of the paragraphs stay the same. And as I said, in the process of reduction, the narrative relative to the individual got mixed up. So we apologize for that. I won't even call that name. I'm correct that what you want to testify to in this regard relates to Magistrate Mahlangu, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Then you may start from paragraph 159.
Commissioners, I had said when I started that we are investigating and evidence comes up that leads into another investigation.
Sorry for that, General. You may continue.
Commissioners, I had indicated that as we investigate, we gather information which leads us into another investigation as we uncover certain things, it leads us into another investigation. So we end up seeing the picture of everything without knowing at the beginning what will have caused. That's why we end up seeing the picture. So the picture that we started seeing that I was demonstrating for the 2 days and a half is that the team that was working in KZN, which was supervised by General Khumalo, and find themselves having to second members to come to Gauteng to assist the Gauteng police on an operation that is under intelligence that is managed by General Khumalo. And this operation in Gauteng was dealing with the drug cartel, and some of them are arrested, the Molifes, the Matlalas, and there are many others that are a part of the list of what the team have identified. Police officers in part of it, and so forth. Now there are 2 operations, 1 man. 2 operations, 1 division. And this person is at crime intelligence. Is busy with 2 things. Is busy with, actually 3 things. Is busy with an investigation of coordination of KZN political issues. Is busy with the organized crime of Gauteng on one side, but is busy managing the division that is called crime intelligence, trying to put reforms and fix things up there. Now, the letter of 31 December 2024 that disbands the team, it triggers my inquiry. So as I inquire on what these members are doing, I begin to know about this level of corruption and criminality happening in Gauteng and the challenges the team is facing. And through my sources that I deployed in different structures also of different departments as well as a community around, I stayed, which I didn't say earlier, I worked in Gauteng for more than 20 years. I stayed here. So I know every corner of this province. So I have people that I know that I talk to and they feed me information, police officers and other private people that still give me information about what's happening in this province. And I'm collaborating that with what the team is telling me, and then I conclude that the target here is to deal with this organized crime investigation, not the political task team. But because the members are here, the people that want to fight this, they think that it's a political task team. So they wrote a wrong letter. They disbanded the wrong team. They were supposed to deal with the Gauteng organized, Gauteng counterintelligence operations, not the political killings task team. But here we are. Who's part of this Gauteng counterintelligence? It's the very same person who's part of the team. And this person, coincidentally, on the structure which I displayed on the first day, it reports to 1 person, Gerald Spear. The very same person, in terms of the structure, must communicate with Gerald Spear to the National Commission. In his investigation on organized crime, he sees some linkages and names of Spear that come into the picture. The members that are busy with this investigation, they are engaging with some senior officers in Gauteng that are socializing with some of these drug dealers. And that becomes risky. Now it's within counterintelligence. So when we see the member of parliament who claims in publicly that he was minding his business and next thing underneath his door, there was a report from crime intelligence that flew into under his door. He took that report and he went to a police station to open a case. Gerald Khumalo is going to come and present the details about that, because there is already an evidence of a communication between a member of parliament and members of crime intelligence, specific Gerald Khan, and the Inspector General of Intelligence, who is the anchor in all this. So what we're seeing happening is that these cases are open in Cape Town. The following day, they are open in Johannesburg. One of the charges in these dockets, which the Member of Parliament is all welcome to open cases if you feel there's something illegal that's happening. But one of the charges is about the appointment of that Ms. Mokwele, who came from BMW, who came into the police, as one of the charges. We know in public space, some so-called expert, the Paul O'Sullivans and the likes, that have been very vocal about the appointment of that lady, that she was a cleaner at BMW, she's now a brigadier in the police. But I guess a profile and everything will be coming to this so that the commissions can get to see exactly what is it that she was doing there, and how much was she paid, and what is she doing in the police, and what is she paid, how she came about being appointed. That one will be presented later. But when we see a case opened in 2 provinces, and it gets transferred by the Chief of Staff of the Minister of Police to IDEC, and IDEC is in position of this in 2025, towards the end of the year. But the case that...
Apologies, General, and Commissioner Khumalo wanted to correct you. Please consider the year, you say end of the year?
2024.
Okay, you had said 2025. Thanks.
Sorry, so my bad. End of the year 2025, which I referred to earlier, that Mr. Adams, a Member of Parliament, had opened cases in Cape Town and Johannesburg, and that was transferred by the letter of the Chief of Staff of the Minister of Police to IDEC within NPA for investigation. So IDEC had written a letter to the Divisional Commissioner of Detective Service to hand over those dockets, which was done towards the end of 2024. So IDEC is now in possession of complaints. I had said earlier, the report from Inspectorate said there's no elements of crime on this complaint. It's a hearsay. The legal services from the police are saying the same thing. Mr. Adams does not avail himself to be interviewed in order to deal with this complaint. But fast forward, commissioners, General Khumalo and the team, one of the critical 2 people I'm going to mention in the team is the provincial head of crime intelligence in Gauteng, who started this, who brought General Khumalo into the picture, because he was approached by the head of detectives on Gauteng and said, there are threats against my members, please assist with the threat assessment. It is that General Lukalakala who spoke to Ntuli to conduct that threat analysis, and they reported to General Khumalo. So they invited General Khumalo to get involved as Gauteng. So that Lukalakala is arrested with Khumalo. And the charges that they are arrested for, or the case they are arrested for, it's a case that is with IDEC. The case is opened in June of 2025. But the case has got the same charges, a complaint from Mr. Adams, similar to what Mr. Adams deposited the previous year, 2024, in October in Cape Town and in November in Johannesburg. It's a similar complaint that these members are arrested for by IDEC in June. But what is strange about it, commissioners, is that instead of IDEC working on the complaint of Adams, which had no basis for a complaint, and effect arrest on that, they did not to date. But they sought to get Mr. Adams to deposit another statement, whether it was coached or whatever. He deposited another statement at the beginning of 2025 in January to IDEC, a completely new statement, which now must prove to some degree that there is crime. So that would enable IDEC to then investigate. In January, the statement is dated. In June, the case is registered. The same June, these members are arrested.
Can you please detail the differences between the 2 statements for me to follow the point you've just made?
Commissioner, I'm going to invite the team to bring that have been arrested and charged, to bring the copy of the charge sheet and the statement that was deposited in that case docket to come and present to the Commission. I don't have it with me, but I have access to it and I read it. So that's why I'm able to draw comparison between this and that. So the question I was asking, but IDEC, why didn't you arrest them on the October and November complaint? Why did you put another statement in January?
That being the complaint of quote-unquote interception.
All what was mentioned in October and November in Cape Town and Johannesburg, one of those was the appointment of this Ms. Mukwele. The arrest is about Ms. Mukwele.
Okay, all right.
But the statement from the complainant, Mr. Adams, is dated January now. It's a new one. A completely new statement which was retaken. But the case is not a similar case as those two. So it's another completely new case that is registered, as if it's a new thing. But, well, if there's evidence of a crime, I'm not going to argue that. They've got all the rights. If there's crime committed, they must act on it. They've